Alright, promise not to get mad, but may have been goofing off for the past month of June on Final Fantasy XIV Online. That's right. I was finally convinced by the cult of my friend group to step foot in an MMO I was completely unfamiliar with. As you know from my previous videos, I play Wizard 101 and Pyro 101 a lot as a kid, and now as an adult. I knew nothing about 14 outside of the billboard incident. I knew little nothing about Final Fantasy in general, besides the usual Cloud, Tifa, and Sephiroth. But that would all change. Okay, well, at least the first part. This was all due to my purchase of a new 1TB SSD so I could play more games and stuff like this, and Marvel Rivals. Although I did have to wait a month for the world server my friends were in to get into it. But soon enough, eventually after a maintenance day, I joined it. So, I am now here to talk about my first impressions. What I liked about the game, what I don't like about the game, and the Mandeville. So, join me as I regale my thoughts and feelings as a new player in Final Fantasy XIV after 100 hours. If you enjoyed the video at any point whatsoever, then be sure to hit that like and subscribe button with the power of Godbert to show your love and support. With that all out of the way, let us dive into this expansive MMO. First off, the amount of customization is crazy. Yeah, I know, it's silly to start with this, but I am a connoisseur in any form of customization in video games, from the simple to the wide variety, and this game scratches that itch perfectly. You have a ton of races in the game to choose from. You could be a little guy, a big guy, a cat person, or just be plain white bread human. I chose to be a Lalafell because I thought it was cool. Then it goes more in depth, like eyes, colors, hairs, ear types, and even your voice. Besides that though, later you unlock something called Glamour, which is probably the best thing ever compared to Wizard and Pirate's way of doing the similar. In short, inside of Wizard 101, you are able to stitch gear onto other pieces of gear, but for a cost of 100 crowns, their premium currency. Final Fantasy XIV, on the other hand, allows you to craft these Glamour prisms, which allows you to turn any gear into glam, which you simply just put over a piece of gear and done. It's incredible, it's simple, you don't need to pay for it. But okay, enough of my hyperfixation on customization in video games. What about the class? What did I pick? Like most traditional MMOs, there are 3 roles for players to pick from, like tank, DPS, or healer. I was interested in Marauder, so I picked that. But there are so many other options in the game, and even later, those classes you pick change about 30 levels into the first expansion. So my Marauder later became a warrior with even more cool abilities. It's actually really cool because it just makes the whole first expansion a lot more easy to go through since it freshens it up. Even picking your class changes where you start in the game, which makes it even more interesting. You start in one of 3 areas depending on your choice: the desert city of Ul'dah, the pleasant forest of Gridania, and, where I went, the pirate haven of Limsa, or just Limsa. Each of them even has their own story to it, which all leads to the same place. So one person experiences their own story than someone who started in a different hub. I have personally never seen this in any game besides maybe a story-driven game where different choices go different routes, but not where you start in an MMO. It makes you feel proud of your origin place. Alright, now we move on to the combat. I was almost certain that I would hate the combat in this game, but I surprisingly didn't, and in fact kinda liked it. You know, besides the times I accidentally fat finger my combos wrong, but still. Pretty much you'll have hotbars with all your abilities on it, like attack or statuses and somewhat. As my friend personally describes it really well, it feels like a dance, to which I added on with that it feels like you start with a simple dance routine, and each new attack or ability adds in a brand new step. So you start from a simple cha-cha slide, and later go into a breakdance or a ballet sort of dance, the more you add on to a combo or a set. It also helps the moves will say their combos when you're looking at them, and will even have a border around to help you lead into the combo. As someone like me, it relieves the stress of trying to always remember what goes into what during a big massive fight when you're trying to focus. And of course, healers focus on healing tanks. Tanks focus on grabbing attention. And the DPS are just there to do the big damage. But, alright, what about the side stuff? Is there anything to do with that? As someone who likes to take their time with the game, I found a lot of enjoyment in crafting and gathering classes, and I spent, I want to say, 15 hours on them alone. Although it's not perfect, it's still fun as heck to do. Crafting requires you to dip into multiple classes like blacksmith, carpenter, and weaver for various stuff. Even crafting is fun, as it's like a small minigame where you balance your durability and progress to successfully craft something. And if you can even enhance the quality, you can increase the stats of that piece of gear, rewarding you for being careful. While I enjoy doing it, some people find it annoying, and I can see why. Compared to Wizard 101 crafting, they both have pros and cons and such. Wizard 101 has very simple crafting, but requires some very hard to get reagents, while Final Fantasy XIV's reagents aren't always too hard to get, but it can be a pain to fumble around everything. Gathering is as simple as finding spots to mine or harvest and getting lucky with your harvest chances and gathering chances. That can also double your gathering. All in all, it's fine enough, I liked it. Alright, moving on now. Obviously, I won't cover a whole lot of the story, but at least a little. The first expansion, called A Realm Reborn, is considered a filter for new players, since it is by far the longest and the most time-consuming in the game, since you will go from all the way from level 1 to level 50. You go from being a new adventure nobody, to understanding the world you started in better, knowing your power called the Echo, meeting new allies and villains, and fighting these big bad gods called primals. After playing Wizard and Pirate 101 multiple times, I am used to a slow burn start, though even the start of this game was still a bit sleepy, but I managed to push through it and enjoy the content that was there. It was a fun time throughout. The only dip I really had was in this place in the Central Highlands, where there was only one teleport between 3 areas you walk back and forward to. You walk up these big towers, and it felt so sluggish to play through for me personally. After all that though, it's smooth sailing with more story bits. Throughout the game you do dungeons, trials, and big bosses. There's a whole lot of instance content for people to enjoy. Even if some are big headaches to deal with, not to mention some queue times for said stuff being good or iffy. For example, some queues only take about maybe a minute at most, or not even a second rarely. But then one time I had a 30-minute queue for a whole alliance ring. Now the characters on the other hand, oh are they so good. MMOs usually need to have a good cast of memorable characters, no matter if they're hero, villain, or some random goofball. My personal favorites are the Scions you later team up with in the story, like Y'shtola or Thancred. Nero is an interesting villain who I think sticks around in the story somewhat, to mess with another cool character I am a huge fan on, named Sid. Then there's the 3 heroes, Connie Senna, Raubahn, and Admiral Merylwed, who are all very cool. I mean, besides Connie Whitebread being kind of but still. But the ones that matter the most, and also one of the biggest reasons I even wanted to play this fucking game in the first place, is the Mandervilles. Yes, an entire section dedicated to the reason I went through primals, plot twists, peoples in sick-ass armor that I could never have. The Hildibrand questline. After seeing how stupid and dumb and absurd it was from my friend Azzy showing to me so long ago, it planted that seed until years down the line to the present. all to become a Manderville man. Pretty much, you follow this goofball of a man named Hildibrand as he tries to solve cases of his assistant Noscea. This is the kind of the GA arc of Final Fantasy XIV, where it's side content, skippable for those who only care for the MSQ, but it's so damn funny, why would you skip it? From the dumb moments to all the funny facial expressions Hildibrand does, which apparently is because they use that storyline to test facial animations, camera angles, and expressions. Honestly, it elevates the just absurdity of it. And it also helps that the Manderville family is full of nutcases, with Hildy just being a goofball dingus, with his mother and father being stupid strong as hell. I think I've made my point, but it really was the biggest reason for me to try the game anyway. To see how absurd it was, and it didn't disappoint it one bit. I loved every questline in there. The family also runs the Gold Saucer, a really cool arcade-like place where you play games, and these gates for points to redeem for all kinds of items. Speaking of that place, there are even events every so often, and the one that I joined during is an event that boosts your rewards at that Gold Saucer place by about 50%. Honestly, I don't really have much to say or add since I haven't seen any other events happen in my 100 hours, but the one that I know the most is the Yokai Watch event. Deadass, if it does ever come back, you will not hear from me until I get everything in there. But that's even if it does come back. I don't know how they work it out with things, but still, you get my point. You won't be seeing me until I get done with that. But, okay. I've rambled enough about the cool stuff in my first 100 hours of Final Fantasy XIV. I didn't want to say too much spoilery stuff, in case someone new is coming to the game and somehow finds this video and wants to know how the game is from a new perspective like mine. So, I didn't go over the Crystal Tower, Grand Companies, or even go in depth with the story, but if you know, you know. All in all, I honestly loved the game, surprisingly. Even the community is really nice. Besides me not being able to get their free offerings because I'm a free child player. Because this game gives you so much content for free. The only thing locked to buying in is a market board and free companies, and the more recent expansions. But it's just wild and crazy to me that they would give so much of the game for free. Wizard 101 only gives you the first world for free, despite years on years of content being added, so it's just bizarre for an MMO like Final Fantasy XIV to give so many hours of content for nothing. Literally nothing. You still don't pay for glamour prisms, you still don't get, like, locked out of, like, progression until, like, later in. Like, I'm going off script here, but, like, it's still, like, just crazy to me. You have, like, again, like, I have 100 hours. That's already crazy enough to say that I have 100 hours in this game, and I haven't paid a single dime, but I've been loving it. That's just absurd. That's just crazy that an MMO could just do that. Because, like, Wizard 101 should do, like, the first arc for free. Pirate 101 is even more scummy, but still, Wizard 101 should do, like, the whole first world for free. Because this proves that this is good. This makes me want to buy in. Okay, but still, I've dragged on enough. Free trial is really good, so if you're watching this video for the first time and want to maybe try out the game, absolutely check out the free trial. Nothing is going to hurt your wallet. So, yeah, in my 100 hours of playing Final Fantasy XIV, I managed to find the game enjoyable and fun despite my outside perspective on it. From the drip, to the fun and welcoming community, the various locations, and the wacky Hildibrand. If you haven't played the game before, or like MMOs, RPGs, then I can easily say as a new player, you'll have a fun time with it, and if this video proves otherwise. But, if you're already into the game, I hope my video showed you why I am happy to be playing Final Fantasy XIV. So, hey, if you see a little Lalafell warrior, just a little Lalafell running around named Luigi Linguini, running around in the Goblin World server, crafting, questing, or gambling, then hey, maybe give me a little hello if you see me. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed still, then be sure to hit that like and subscribe buttons down below, and I will see you Warriors of Light later.